So just when I was about to write the Indianapolis Colts off after having a disastrous season, which culminated in possibly the most embarrassing play call in the history of the NFL, where they ran a fake punt that started with the third-string wide receiver snapping the ball to the third-string safety. The Colts actually showed some signs of life.
Hold up. Let me ask, what was that about, man? Did you ever get an answer like what? Because I think about that every day. Like, every day.
You think about it every day? So you think about every day.
It was the most absurd play in the history of the NFL. I mean, everybody moved out the way. I mean, really, there's no logic.
You put your beautiful daughter down, and you help your oldest daughter with her homework. You're out doing stuff for Central State, getting your chorale groups together, going over music, spending time with your family. And you're saying every day through all of that.
Every day, it's every day a thought comes on mine, and I just pause and I look up in the air and I think, what was Pagano thinking, man?
I don't know. I think we've been on hiatus for a few weeks, so we didn't cover it. Maybe that was by design. Maybe it wasn't by design. I don't know.
Let's just say for the record here that was by far the most idiotic play I've ever seen in just all of history. I mean, like you said, a receiver snapping to a punter with no blocking and just hike him the ball and see what happens. I mean, really, like, just move the blocking out the way, get him out the way.
From what was explained, they were supposed to set that play up to see what the defense would react. That was Chuck Pagano's explanation in the press conference. So if they had a look when they flanked out and put everyone on the side, obviously in football, you know, Jeremy, everyone doesn't have to be on the line.
Right.
So the ball's being snapped. As long as there are 5 people on the line, actually I think it's 6 people on the line. And then you have some people that are receivers. One of them has to be they have to be in a step behind the line of scrimmage, whatever those rules map to. As long as it doesn't matter where they are on the field.
Right. So what you're saying, this was the NFL version of, hey, look, your shoes are untied. You know, and maybe they'll look down long enough where I can run by them because they're not professionally paid athletes. They're being paid millions of dollars to keep somebody from getting a first down. So they're going to be thrown off by the fact that, oh yeah, I got 7 people on this right side of the field, but the ball's right here, and they're just going to be so confused that they're just going to drop. You know, I mean,
so confused. Right. So I think the plan was, if there was only one person and everyone flanked out, if the rest of the team followed everyone that flanked out, you had a 2-on-1 situation where you had someone hiking the ball, and you have the individual getting the ball, and there's only one person to beat, so you take your chances on the play. The Patriots left 3 people, so it was a 3 versus 2 matchup. For some inexplicable reason, Griff Whalen decided to hike the ball. Other than the only explanation would be is that he's a 4th-string wide receiver, so he's not any good, which is why he wouldn't know any better than to hike the ball in that situation.
Listen. That's not his fault. If you're the coach and say, hey, just get down and, you know, he should have been given some explicit, under no circumstances, do not hike the ball. Clearly those instructions weren't given. He felt on some level, you know, let's just go for it. Let's just go for it. I know the 2 dudes right next to me. I'm not a blocker. You're not a runner, you know, but let's just go for it. And didn't they have like 3 yards or something like that? It wasn't inches. It was like 3 yards or something, or 5.
It was a 4th and 3. It was a 4th and 3.
All right, I know this is not what you want this segment to be about, but we just had to.
But not only that, the irony is, had the play worked, they still got flagged for illegal motion because everybody was not set on the line as it was supposed to be set. So even if no one had been there and they had run for a touchdown, the play still would have been called back. So
right.
It was an awful idea from the start. So I take the L on that. That was embarrassing. I got lots of calls. I didn't cover it on the show because we were on hiatus. But that was embarrassing.
That worked out well for you.
Still my shine, though. I mean, the Colts won this week, which is what matters. So the Colts were able to beat Peyton Manning again Since Peyton Manning has left for Denver, he's 1-3 versus the Colts, including a loss in the playoffs last year. The Colts stormed out to a 17-0 lead. Kind of start to fall apart a little bit in the second half. Andrew Luck had a very good game, very efficient, threw for 250 yards, completed about 60% of his passes, didn't throw any interceptions. Colts didn't have any turnovers. Colts were able to get 2 picks on Peyton Manning, who now has 15 interceptions on the season. 14 interceptions on the season. So Peyton Manning's on a pace to throw 28 interceptions. Denver came into the game 7-0 with the best defensive statistic in the NFL. Colts were able to move the ball on the ground and through the air. So for 1 week, we have a chance. For 1 week, I can go to bed thinking that, hey, if some things break right, maybe we get into the playoffs 9-7. We get the first game at home because the Colts play in a terrible division. So the AFC South is the worst division in football, next to the NFC East, which is your team that the Eagles play in.
Both clearly not the worst.
Terrible division.
Right, right.
So the Colts, if they win their division even at 8-8, they'll get a home playoff game. And if they're able to win a home playoff game, they'll probably end up going to Denver, which they've owned since Peyton Manning went to Denver and they brought in Andrew Luck. So you would think that theoretically we have an opportunity to get back to the AFC title game. At least that's what I'm thinking this week. They could go out next week. They play Atlanta.
Hold up.
They could get beat by 30 by Atlanta, and they could end up going 7-9 or 6-10, and I'm back to whining.
Yeah, you snuck in. You snuck in that AFC championship game in there, man. I mean, let me just say, I think that
championship last year, they're not any much worse of a team now than they were last year. I mean, the
they're significantly worse. They're significantly worse. They're playing well. They're playing.
Not worse.
No, personnel wise, they're not worse, but they're playing like a team that shouldn't even make it to the playoffs right now. Andrew Luck is struggling. Yeah, they had a good game today, but it's been a difficult year for this offensive team. Your running game is pretty much non-existent. Like I said, Andrew Luck has had a lot of difficult games. The interceptions are up significantly. I mean, listen, I think to say that this is the same team, yeah, it's the same team on paper, but to say that this is the same team as it was last year is by far off base. I mean, look, I'm trying to think. You all are, in terms of offense, what are you all? You all are you're ranked 15 in offense. I mean, that's not a mark of a team that's going to make it to the AFC Championship, especially in the AFC where you got Denver. Yeah, you all just beat Denver, but just for the record, had it not been for that 17-0 lead that you all got, that you all almost threw that game away. So that was not as much as you want to paint your squad as looking great in old form. Let's not get carried away here. It was a win. It was a win. It was a win, no doubt. I'm not trying to take it from you. And you all did, Andrew Luck in the first half did on some level expose Denver Broncos defense, which I didn't think was possible. But, you almost gave it away.
Yeah, but even I think the point that I'm saying, Jeremy, we're not that good of a team. We weren't that good of a team last year. We weren't that good of a team the year before. It's this last year, Andrew Luck played better. We didn't turn the ball over as much. And until they ran into the Patriots, they were better than the other teams in the AFC. So if you go 11-5 and you win close games and you're really not that good of a team, your record's inflated. If you go 9-7 or 8-8 with the same team, you didn't win some of those close games. I'm saying their personnel still is what it is. If the Colts don't turn the ball over and Andrew Luck's not throwing picks, they can compete with anyone. They should have beat Carolina. They're up on Carolina in overtime. Actually, the first team in NFL history to lose a game with the new overtime rules where they scored first. They've proven that they can play with good teams if they don't turn the ball over. If they turn the ball over, they'll get blown out. So right now, based on beating a 7-0 Denver Broncos team that has the best defense in the NFL, we have hope. We're going to win our division. They're going to have a home playoff game, which is winnable. And that second playoff game is likely going to be versus the 2 seed, which is going to be Denver, which the Colts have proven repeatedly that they can go to Denver and get a victory, which puts them back in the AFC Championship game to get thrashed by the Patriots once again. However, you never know. Tom Brady could have a stomach virus. Something bad could happen.
Yeah.
You go up against
man,
him,
right.
he has a bad, anything can happen. I just want a seat at the table, and that's just all I'm saying. I'd rather be 8-8 and have a chance to compete than go 13-3 and be a fraud. The Colts aren't a fraud right now because they're not that good. That's my point.
Well, listen, and then every other fan in the whole entire of any team can make an argument at this point. I mean, we're still early on. I mean, the strongest point you have at this time is that you're in a terrible division. The Colts are in a terrible division, and I mean, you all are right now tied with Houston Texans. So, it is likely, based upon what the Houston Texans are doing, that you all are going to make it to the playoffs, but anything is possible. I mean, you could have an injury, you could have luck, just absolutely start stinking it up these next couple of weeks. I think y'all are about to go on a bye week or something. But the fact of the matter is, I mean, anything is possible. What is very clear is that the Colts are having a subpar year as compared to the previous years. AFC is looking very strong. Yeah, you all beat Denver today, and you all are in a good position to possibly make some moves, but now it's the time to do it. But the Patriots are looking great. The Bengals are looking great as well. I don't know who's going to get the bye. It's probably going to be either the Patriots and the Bengals or the Patriots and the Broncos. The pathway through to the Super Bowl is through New England, and I don't think you all get there. But I just think, I just don't think you can count your chickens yet. I mean, Pittsburgh Steelers are not out of it. You can't count them out of it. They may come up and they may be approved to be an issue for you all. I mean, even the Oakland Raiders, that's going to be a dark horse, quite frankly, going in for the AFC. So you got all these teams that you've got to go through who are looking pretty strong. And, you all have some history. You got the talent with luck and all of that, but seeing, putting it that far and trying to replay what happened last year, going to in New England for the AFC Championship, I think is going to be a stretch. Even though the talent looks similar to last year, I think it's going to be a stretch. But hey, time will tell.
And the NFL is a week-to-week business. All I know is last week we were 3-5. We had no hope. They fired Pep Hamilton. We were ready to fire Pagano, fire the GM, which I still think both of them should get fired because they've done an awful job managing the roster. But this week after a win, I'm happy.
Anything's possible.
Hopefully the Eagles can get back on track and you can be happy so your spirit of hatred can evaporate. And
whatever.
The season is what it is, Jeremy. As long as you're mathematically alive, there's always hope.
And that's the case for us. That's the case for both of us. I mean, the NFC East is wide open. I mean, the Giants, the Cowboys are really looking bad. I mean, Tony Romo's supposed to come back next week. Everyone's trying to talk about, next week or the week after next. Probably just in time for Thanksgiving. I'm not sure, but he's coming back very soon. And it's all because of the offensive line that that there may be some hope. But, whatever. We got the Giants and the Eagles that are kind of battling out. The roster Redskins look absolutely pitiful. I don't know if any of your listeners saw them today, but that was it. And they played New England, and that was the absolute most embarrassing display of talent I've ever seen. So that puts us in a good position. And, Carolina Panthers, I'm just thinking of NFC. Carolina Panthers look really strong. They pulled out that big win against Green Bay. No one thought they were going to be able to pull it off, but they were the underdogs even at home. But really had a decisive lead over them in the first half, and they almost let away at the end, but their defense came through. So I'm happy for them. I'm happy for Cam Newton.
There it is. Jeremy Winston, James Lewis, fans of teams that suck but have hope because they play a weak division. I'll take it.
Right.
Next on the Lance Day Radio Show, Dr. Arlene Archer will be coming in and talking about mental health and how it's important to the sports paradigm and continuum. Back on Advent Sports Network.
You're on the ticket with Advent Sports Network, home of Falcon Pride, One-on-One with MJ, and the Lance J Radio Show.